this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create something like this using Adobe Photoshop. So let's get into it. First off, you need an image like this, a rough image. Then we are going to look at how to create this smoke coming out from his mouth and how to work on the surface of this image in order to tint it like this, so as to have a result that is pleasing to the eye. So come over to this tab where I have only this image. Mind you, you must have basic knowledge of Photoshop, you must understand layers and know how to work with the file menus. But even if you don't, you can still follow along with the step in this tutorial. Now first off, double click on this layer to unlock it. Now secondly, we are going to make a copy of this layer. So I'm going to select and make a copy of it, just as to have one for reserve. Then I'm going to lock the layer, then turn it off and lock it. Now on the second layer, I'm going to trace out this image from this background. There are quite a number of tools that you can use to trace this object, but the one I find that is okay and that will not take much of my time to work with at this point is the polygon lasso tool. So select it and trace this object roughly. I'm going to fast forward the video. Alright, now we are through tracing this image. The next thing to do is to select it and press Ctrl J on the keyboard to move the traced copy on a new background. So Ctrl J, we now have a fresh copy of this image on a new background. But as you can see, the traced copy, the edges are quite sharp, so we don't really want the edges to be sharp. So I'm going to hold down the Ctrl Alt Z on the keyboard to undo. Then before I move it to a new background, I'm going to right click and feather the edges. So I will use 0.5 pixels of feathering, then press Ctrl J to move it to a new background. At this, the edges are still sharp, but they're a whole lot smoother compared to the previous result. Okay, so what we can do next is to delete this other image, and we are also going to trace this place using this tool just to get rid of the inner black that we have inside of that place. So I'm gonna press delete key, that will get rid of it. Then I'll also get rid of this other one. So I'll press Ctrl D or go to select. You can see the shortcut is Ctrl D to deselect this selection. So now that I have this as the traced image, I'm going to create a new layer and fill it with black. Press D on the keyboard and press Alt backspace to fill with the background color, or you go to edit, fill, then you can choose the background color, which is quite a longer process. So come to this layer that you've traced. You can turn off the background for a while or turn it off. Now the next thing, if you look at the example we have here, is the smoke that we have coming out from the mouth, and that is pretty much easy. All you need is, let's switch over to this other tab and we create a new layer. So with the background still turned on, we are going to pick a brush tool. Right click on our brush tool, we have use, and one of those brushes are the ones that are, I will put a link in the description where you can install it on your own system. But right now I'm going to go to the settings of my brush panel, and I'm going to load one of these brushes. So at this point I will be looking for a smoke brush. So I have a smoke brush around here. Real smoke. So just click on it and click OK. So these are a couple of real smoke brushes that we can make use of. So if you pick this one and use your left and right curly bracers, or you right click to reduce the size of the brush, you can increase it by using the left and right curly bracers. And if I switch my foreground color to white, you can see I have a smoke. So we are going to look for this particular one that we use in this very place. So I'm going to right click and pick a particular one from here. Okay, I don't think that is the one I used, so let's just click through and look for the one we use, or the one that is close to it. So not that. So let's make use of this one. Okay, so I'm going to undo that, reduce the brush size and click. So this is better, but before I click, I can do one more thing by changing the direction of the brush from the brush preset right here. So I can easily change the direction of this brush so that the smoke will actually come out from his mouth. Then I will increase the size of the smoke a little bit and click once. Alright, let's do that again. Let's increase the size and let's click somewhere here. Alright, now that we have the smoke, we need to make a copy of this image and use our image mask in order to mask the smoke off. So I'm going to create a layer mask and press B on the keyboard. This time around I'm going to reset my brush. Just come over to this place and say reset brush. Then I'll pick any of this brush. Just like the way you use mask, the foreground color of black is going to get rid of the mask, while the white is going to reveal the mask. So at this point I want to get rid of this place in his mouth. So I'll quickly zoom in close to that place and clean this in such a way that the smoke will actually pop out from the mouth, kind of. So I will just clean this a little bit. So now that we have the smoke coming out from his mouth, the next thing I did was to paint on this. If I turn off this layer, you'll see the mask I've created for the other layer. Then I also want to select this layer and the mask and paint off some of this smoke over here. And the next thing I would like to do is to quickly create a new layer on top of this place. Then I want to paint this place a little bit, but not with white color. I want to paint it using this color inside of the mouth, kind of. Then because this is on a new layer, I'm going to change the blending mode to color dodge. So that's going to give us more like a bright highlight on that mouth. And also I'm going to resize the brush. And quickly make a trace of the mouth like this in order to add that highlight on the mouth. Okay, so if we are to change the color of this smoke here to red color, we can actually lock the transparency and use our brush to paint this to have it with this color. But at the same time, we can sample this color here and paint it in order for it to match with what is happening inside of the mouth. Okay, so I'm going to undo that and leave it in white, because at the end of the day I'm still going to make it black and white. And the next thing I'm going to do is also to create another layer, and on this layer I am going to make this color a little bit bright. Then I'm going to paint around the region of the neck, so I'll press B on the keyboard. Then on top of my layer I am going to paint this. Now notice that as I'm painting, if I hold on the Alt key to see, you can see that I have my paint, but I don't seem to see the image, so I have to move this above the layer so that I'll be able to see that layer. So I'll move it above the layer. Let me erase this paint by pressing E on the keyboard to grab the eraser tool. I can increase the flow or the opacity of the eraser to 100%. Now this time around I can repaint this just on this very side like this. Then after painting this, I want to change the blending mode to color dodge, so that is going to add a lot of brightness to that place. Or better still, we can toggle through other blends by clicking on this place, holding our Shift plus, so we can toggle on the blend, Shift plus, until we see something that blends in more. So I think the overlay is better because it's giving us a lot of this bluish. Then at the same time, for this place I'm going to change the blending mode to overlay so that we have uniformity of that. Then I'm also going to paint that particular place with that yellow color on this layer. So I'll grab the brush and paint it with that yellow color. Alright, so I want to paint some of this other place also. Then if need be, we can also paint our smoke with this so that we have the same uniformity. Then we can extend the painting to this other part. So you can see we have a more better result, and probably compared to what we have here. Now the last thing I did was to type all this text. Then after typing this text, and I had to create a simple layer using a shape tool. So I have to create a layer using a shape tool. Then I have to give it a color. Choose any of this color of your choice. Then change the blending mode to color dodge. And reduce the opacity. Okay, you can toggle through these blend modes until you see something that works better, that you will appreciate. Something like this is cool. Then you can reduce the opacity of that effect. But I'm gonna turn this off and I'll probably delete it. The next thing you can do is to add an adjustment layer here. So we look for black and white. I can just bring this to black and white. Okay, then we can play with the tint of the image and the brightness in order to make it brighter. So once you are done with this value the way you want them, you can now add the shape layer with that color of your choice. You can change the blending mode of this, maybe to screen, or better still to color dodge. Any of the blend mode, just sample through it until you see but you can appreciate. Alright, so I want to use the shortcut of Shift to sample through. So I think I like the soft light. Then the next thing is to reduce that blend mode. Alright, so that will give you that unique look in the color. So that is it. That is how we arrive at this. You will be able to create your own imagination of this animal breathing out smoke from his mouth. I believe you've learned some tricks and technique that you can apply to your own personal project. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for this channel, and don't forget to leave your comment below. Thank you for watching once again. See you soon.